Erbil, Iraq. Kurds in both Iraq and Syria are watching carefully the new ascendance of Iran amid decreasing U.S. influence in the region. The pivotal moment came when Iran-backed Iraqi forces took the town of Kirkuk from Kurds on October 16 and Iranian-backed proxies were able to establish a potential Iranian land bridge through Iraq and Syria to Lebanon. The Syrian government and Iranian-backed proxies on Thursday claimed they had liberated the town of Abu Kamal. If this holds true, it's a huge setback for the US-backed Syrian Democratic Forces (SDF) that were planning to capture the town to prevent the Iranian land bridge after liberating Raqqa, formerly the capital of the so-called Islamic State. The sudden move was enabled by Iraqi forces, including the Iranian-backed Iraqi Popular Mobilization Units (PMU) that took the Iraqi town of Al-Qaim on November 3, and crossed the border, ending the race between the US-backed SDF forces and the Syrian government. Syrian journalist Saad al-Sabr told the Daily Beast that Iraqi Shiite paramilitary group Harakat Hezbollah al-Nujaba and Iraqi Hezbollah played a major role in the operations in Abu Kamal. However, PMU spokesperson Karim Nouri denied that PMU units crossed the border. Al-Sabi, PMU, stopped on the Syrian border in the town of Al-Qaim, he said. There are Iraqi fighters there fighting alongside the Syrian army, but they have nothing to do with the al-Sabi, he added. He also denied accusations that Iran will open a land bridge through Iraq to Syria. Iran cannot open a land route through the al-Sabi or any other side, to cross into Syria, he said. This is scaremongering. Nevertheless, Western diplomats seem to see the recent developments as a major win by Iran. This would complete the main southern land corridor, with work on the northern ones ongoing. It's weird how quietly we all seem to be accepting the fact, one well-informed Western diplomat told the Daily Beast. These corridors won't only act had for the last 30 years. For the last 30 years, China, and, in all fairness, and other countries. Look, we have a $71 billion trade deficit with Mexico. We have a $70 billion trade deficit with Japan. We have a $30 billion trade deficit with South Korea. I could go through a whole list. There are few countries we have a surplus with, and those countries it's like a $2 surplus. It's disgraceful. And I don't blame any of those countries. I blame the people that we had representing us who didn't know what they were doing. Because they should have never let it happen. I'd like to ask a question on AT&T and CNN. Do you want AT&T to sell CNN for the president? Well, I didn't make the decision. That was made by a man who's actually a very respected person, a very respected person. I did make a comment in the past as to what I think. I do feel that you should have as many news outlets as you can, especially since so many of them are fake. This way, at least you can get your word out. But I do believe you should have as many news outlets as you can. Now, with that being said, I didn't make a statement on it, but I made that statement long before at the very early part. So we'll see how it will probably end up being maybe litigation, maybe not. We'll see how it all plays out. Did you talk to Xi about opening China to Twitter and other social media? The president about what? Opening China to Twitter. The president, I mentioned it very briefly. Honestly, it wasn't number one on my list. Number one on my list with him was North Korea and trade. Those are the two I really spoke. I mentioned it, briefly, but we'll talk. I'm going to have plenty of time to talk. He'll come here next time. This all started in Florida. And it's a great feeling to have that kind of a relationship where you can really help your country. Because we can really help our country, and he can really help his country. But we're going to be very tough on trade. This is not. Iraqi Prime Minister Abadi only plays a minor role in recent operations against the Kurds. This, while Baghdad maintains it played the major role in the pushback against the Iraqi Kurds. There is a program to create a Shia crescent from Iran through Iraq, Syria to the south of Lebanon. Kamal Kirkuki, a Kurdish Peshmerga commander who withdrew his forces from Kirkuk in mid-October but whose forces fought the Iran-backed Iraqi proxies. Iran supervised the plan, to take Kirkuk, and unfortunately some Western countries were aware of this, he said. Also, Syrian Kurds say that Iran now feels more emboldened after the US failed to support the Kurds in Iraq, and will try to push the Syrian government to attack the US-backed forces that are attempting to build a federation in northern Syria with what they hope is US support. Iran is pushing them. Recently, Syrian officials are speaking in a more threatening way, especially after the referendum in the Kurdish